That's a little blasphemous.
Tay. We might get a little canceled.
So are you denying that you are a part of the Illuminati?
I am. What'd you do?
Confession.
What'd you do?
It was a few years ago. They wanted to cast me for a show. It was called like Virgin Island.
What?
Something like that.
Very
You
successful.
tell me?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hollywood is telling people how to dress, how to look, what to do, love, relationships, sex, money. It is influencing an entire generation. What is up, happy and healthy, and welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Jeanine Amapola Ward, and I am joined today with, as always, my husband, Kaleb.
Thank you very much.
Babe, I actually got the sound effect right this time.
We are back better than ever.
I hope so. No.
Not really better than ever.
I don't know if we are, to be honest.
I feel like you and I, surprisingly, we don't like the summer.
This past week was boo-boo.
The weather hit 90 degrees, and I was like,
well, sorry, go ahead.
Spiritual warfare immediately.
Well, not even that. It was raining so much.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was in the air. We got back from Utah, and we were just not having it this week.
Yeah. Sad girl hour.
Like, it's more like sad girl week.
Yeah, but the good news is we're doing a podcast now, and we're going to get into it. This is going to be a fun episode. Mm-hmm. So just like we always say, this podcast is better with a cup of coffee.
Kaleb has his right here. Show them, bub.
And this podcast is also better when you watch it with the best friend, or maybe your boyfriend, or maybe your husband, or maybe
your mom,
your dog. A mom-daughter, duo
is
also
undefeatable.
There's some bros out there who watch the pod now. So
well, and we have a lot of moms.
Yeah.
Okay, this past weekend, which was really exciting, we were in a funk and we literally planned a 5K in 2 days.
A happy and healthy 5K.
Why did we do that?
It was a blast. And I think, for our podcast, or for I'm not going to say our, because this is your podcast. For your podcast community, we want to keep doing these 5Ks. And so we're going to go from city to city and just we're going to keep trying to build this out and bring the people, because, people are out there watching, and it's like, I want them to be a part of something,
Absolutely.
And bring it to fruition. Yeah, that's right. Bring it to real life. And so it was a blast. And
we had so much fun getting to meet you guys. We started off the year doing those faith and fitness events. So we did Nashville, we did Dallas, and now we're going to probably do Austin next. So stay tuned. But it was so fun doing the 5K. Some of you guys never ran in your life, and that was your first time running, and you did it. I was so proud of you guys. And so that kind of helped us get a little bit out of our funk. I'm honestly feeling so much better today. Woke up, got deep time in the Word. I went on a run, worked out, did my makeup, and I'm here with my husband. I'm just excited.
Yeah, we were sitting down and we were like, what do we want to talk about? Because guys, honestly, doing a podcast
every week,
once a week, is very, very, very challenging for you to come up with the right topic, because you don't want to be just a redundant 6 ways to better your life. It's like that. Those topical preaching podcasts are hard to do, because you really gotta be.
You gotta know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You gotta back it up. And we always want to, of course, always take your suggestions. We've seen your suggestions. We've seen feedback. We are adjusting as needed, but also we want to have fun here. Yeah. And we love sitting down, and we are really excited about today's episode. And
today's one might get us into some trouble, which those are the best podcasts.
We might get a little canceled.
And I think it's okay. I think let's get ahead of the cancel, because if we can get ahead of the cancel, we can learn how to live our lives canceled and not, you know what I mean?
Can I steal your coffee?
Yeah.
It's so good. So just heads up, you guys, we have a Patreon. On our Patreon, we dove even deeper into that. We talked about the Illuminati. We talked about Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber haters.
Yeah.
What else did we talk about? My own personal experience at Hollywood party.
Was Janine a part of the Illuminati? So if you want part 1 to this conversation, go subscribe to our Patreon.
We do 2 extra episodes every single month where we just shoot the she.
We talked about this on our Patreon a little bit with the Taylor Swift stuff.
We brushed over
but
it.
So many people want to know our thoughts. Should Christians, be listening to Taylor Swift? Because we got some Swifties. And I was a former Swiftie. When she was doing country music, my dad loved Taylor Swift.
My dad never supported Taylor Swift.
Yeah, her country days were the best days. And you can come for me if you want, but...
Like teardrops on my guitar.
Dude, all of that. When, I sent in a bit.
Huh?
What's the
I didn't
one?
pick up a single word in that.
Dun, 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 on your window. It's all real slow.
When you're on the phone and you talk real slow.
Yeah, because it's
late and your mama don't know.
My song is a blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm going to listen to that on the way to the gym today.
Look, I've been twice to her concerts. I've enjoyed her shows. Do I think she's a miracle? Not a miracle. I was going to say a musical genius. I think she's very, very talented. Mm-hmm. But there's something about her style of music that doesn't click with my personal taste.
It doesn't mean you don't hate her.
I don't like her. No, I'm not saying I dislike her as a person. I don't think that she's not talented. I just simply do not resonate very well with her music.
But here's the thing. We know you would switch up. If she walked into a coffee shop and you were working,
I'd be excited to meet her. Don't get me wrong.
You would go like, oh.
No, but I'm not a hater.
Okay, that's crucial.
I'm not a hater. I'm just not a stan.
Okay,
see what I'm saying?
I'm a hater.
You're a hater?
I'm a hater.
Okay, so say she walks in the coffee shop. Are you Taylor?
No, I'm saying Beyonce should have won.
I'm not a stan of Beyonce either.
Is it Beyonce?
I don't know.
No, remember when Kanye West?
Oh yeah, wasn't there?
Was it Rihanna or?
I think it was Rihanna.
Rihanna, yeah, I would say Rihanna.
You might want to double check that.
I would say what Kanye said when he took the.
What did he say?
Do you remember when she won the award for best music video?
Yeah.
And Kanye jumped up.
Yeah, and he was like, she shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
That was savage of him.
I would probably say that. No, I'm just kidding.
No wonder why there's beef.
So this is what Taylor Swift.
Well, can I say something really fast?
You're killing me over here.
I'm so sorry because here's the thing between me and Caleb. I want to give a proper introduction. Caleb just wants to jump into the tea. So we do want to be talking about pop culture. We want to talk about Hollywood. We want to talk about our thoughts of things in pop culture. So
and current events.
We don't do this very often because, to be honest, we're not very big in this topic. But secondly, you kind of can't. Oh my gosh, we just got a new Patreon follower. Hey, Rebecca. Thanks for subscribing. You can't get away from Hollywood and pop culture. It is everywhere. We see it every single day. It's online. So
let's not avoid it,
I think people wonder a lot, how do Christians engage in pop culture and Hollywood? What can we do? What should we consume? What are our thoughts? So we're just going to talk about that a little bit. That's what we're doing today. Shout out to Claritin for supporting this episode and providing us with samples. So if you guys are anything like me and you struggle with allergies, raise your hand because I am right there with you. I get super itchy throat, itchy ears, and I sneeze like a crazy woman. And it really does prevent me from wanting to take my daily walks with my husband. But luckily for those of us who live with the symptoms of allergies, we can live Claritin Clear with Claritin D. It is designed for serious allergy sufferers. Claritin D has 2 powerful ingredients in just one pill that relieves your allergy symptoms and decongests your nose so you can breathe better. This double action combination of prescription strength allergy medicine and the best decongestant available relieves sneezing, a runny nose, itchy and watery eyes, and an itchy nose, and sinus congestion and pressure with an ease, which is exactly what I need. So I have been using them anytime that I have allergies, which has been many, many times. I have found that it has definitely helped me so much where I can go outside again and enjoy my day. So if you guys are ready to live life as if you don't have allergies, it is time to live Claritin Clear. It is fast and powerful relief. It's just a quick trip away. Find Claritin D at the pharmacy counter. Ask for Claritin D at your local pharmacy counter. You don't even need a prescription. Go to Claritin.com right now for a discount so you can live Claritin Clear. Use as directed.
So the first question is, because Janine is a part of the Illuminati, I think it'd be interesting to hear her take.
Wow. Someone's going to clip that.
Okay. So to preface before we dive into the Taylor Swift, theology, she sings in her song. Should I sing or just say it?
Please just say it.
Okay. God save the most judgmental creeps who say they want the best for me, sanctimoniously performing
Sequillaries?
Yeah, that's a tough word.
Soliloquies.
I'll never see, thinking it can change the beat. Of course, my heart when he touches me and counteract the chemistry and undo the destiny. You ain't got to pray for me and my wild boy and all of this wild joy. If you all want is gray for me, then it's just white noise and it's just my choice. She also sings Guilty as Sin. She says, what if I roll the stone away? That's a little blasphemous.
Tay.
They're going to crucify me in any way. What if the way you hold me is
actually what's holy? Okay, so I see now why everyone was like, please react. You would not believe the amount of DMs we've gotten about talking about this topic.
Because I think a lot of Taylor Swift fans are Christian,
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, she's talking about rolling the stone away. It's like, man, I don't know if we'd say that if Jesus was in front of us, you know?
Okay, so there's two things going on here. One, I think the whole like roll away the stone, that kind of thing. Can I see it again? If she's trying to compare herself as God, or she's saying I'm God, or I
think she's just I think she has church hurt and she's just kind of making fun of it.
That was the first song, I think. What if I roll away the stone? They're going to crucify me anyway. What if the way you hold me is what's actually holy? So people would probably, describe this as sacrilegious, you could probably say, where it's like, okay, why would you roll away the stone? Like, obviously the stone is so sacred for us as Christians because that's where Jesus was, risen from the grave. And so they're saying, what if they're going to crucify me? Saying, okay, I'm like Jesus who was crucified, which is a wild comparison to say that you're like Jesus. But I don't think that she's trying to be super facetious. Yeah. What do you think she is?
I think she knows what she's doing. I think she knows it's going to get a rile out of Christians. She grew up in, I think it was Tennessee.
Well, it sounds like she grew up in church.
Sure, she grew up in church, so I imagine there's some church hurt there. Here's what I think we're called to do. I think we're really called to turn the other cheek. I don't think we should. It's interesting. Christians often hate cancel culture.
And they want to throw the first stone sometimes.
And so we'll cancel Taylor Swift for this. Do I think it's appropriate? Do I think you should probably listen to it? Do I think it's sacrilegious? Do I think it's rude? Do I think if you did that about any other religion, you would get away with it? No. It's like we have accepted that Christianity will be made fun of.
It is one of the most mocked faiths or religions out there. By
she could not do that to any other religion.
Yeah.
If she mocked any other religion, she could not do that. And I think that goes to show like
there is such a I'm sorry, did you mean to say something?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say there is, and gosh, people always want to be like, Christians think they're just such a victim and Christians always think it's about them. But it's like, we're not defending ourselves. We're defending our faith, just like everyone has the right to do. And Christianity tends to be the most mocked. We've seen Lil Nas, we've seen Rihanna do it. We've seen Doja Cat. We've seen Demi Lovato. We know that people are mocking this religion, whether people want to admit it or not. It's like, why wear the cross? Why wear the upside down cross? Why wear the nun outfit? Why have Satan? Why, all those things. I'm like, you could have done so many other creative, really cool things with your music video and your cover art, and you chose to pick something that is super holy and sacred to us. And it's scary because I think in today's day and age, people do not take this serious enough. Like, people joke like, oh, whatever, just send me to hell. Ha ha ha, go to hell. Like, it's not something to joke about. And I think that's where I get sad. I'm not like mad. Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, you sick human being. I am like, wow, you need God. Like, you need God to reveal to you his beauty and his mercy and his kindness of who he really is. And if you encountered that, you would never want to mock him a day in your life, because you would realize God is an all-powerful God, and you do not want to mock him. And he literally says in the Bible, God will not be mocked. And so just knowing that everyone's going to face a judgment one day, and that's not a judgment I personally want to face.
I don't think if you believe in God or if you fear God, you would write that. I don't think that, obviously she has some, lack of fear, because, we would be dead just being in the presence of God. We would tremble, at his feet. And so I would err on the side of not doing that, even if you don't believe in Christianity, even if I wouldn't mock, God in any type of way. I do think it's interesting though, because here's where I'll say devil's advocate.
Okay.
We have some Christian influencer friends who are comedians who make fun of Christians, who make fun of church, who make fun of God. And so you can make an argument that Christians make fun
of Christians,
and of God and of churches and of pastors. And so I would say we're all hypocrites. I would say that I would, even if you're a Christian and you're getting up in arms about Taylor Swift, I would turn the other cheek. I would probably go, you know what? I probably wouldn't do that, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time trying to come for her, because eventually you're going to be in a point where either you've screwed up or you've messed up, and you're going to give her grace. I would pray for her. I would go, Lord, I hope
she meets you.
I hope you can, because if she does that and then you hit her with the same stone she's already been hit by, she's going to make more lyrics about it.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I was going to say, is that sometimes Christians can be the first to throw the stone, and you're immediately like, how dare she say that? And she's coming for us. And we get so angry and agitated, and we feel like we need to speak up and say something and defend. But sometimes it's not our thing to defend. It's sometimes God already can defend himself. He already is the avenger. And so knowing that justice will be served and God will do what he needs to do. And so if we are just feeding into that and giving this non-believer or someone that already is mocking Christianity just another reason to mock us or to mock Christianity, like, what good are we doing? How are we helping? How are we showing them more kindness and graciousness and love, and allowing them to see, okay, I might have messed up, or I made fun of your faith, or I have real church hurt or real church trauma, or someone in the church abused me. If we're not being arms wide open, hey, I'm here to listen, I'm here to talk, how can I love you? How can I listen? How can I be non-judgmental and be someone different? Then how is that person going to find Christ? And it's not like it's only up to you, but just knowing that, like, as Christians, I just see some people be so judgmental. I mean, I remember I went to the Taylor Swift concert, and you would not believe the comments I got from Christians of being like, I used to love you, and I can't believe you would go. You support the devil worshiper.
That's the big thing.
And I was like, whoa,
Here's
whoa,
the thing.
whoa.
Here's the difference is a lot of people are listening to this going, guys, but she's satanic. I think that's the thing. I think a lot of Christians are going, I think Taylor Swift is satanic. Do you think she's satanic?
Okay, so that's the next point, and what we do need to address is when I did go to her concert, I had actually people warn me like, hey, there's some very interesting spiritual things in this. I went and I was like, oh, I kind of see it. So in my personal opinion, I don't really want to encourage and glorify stuff like that. Caleb and I have dramatically shifted what we listen to the deeper that we've grown our faith. I don't listen to the same music. I am slowly but surely unfollowing, unhearting, unliking songs because I don't want to participate. I don't want to glorify it. I don't want to be super rigid where I'm like, you know, if you listen to this, you are the devil. But I also think, you know, what does darkness have in light with what does darkness have in common with light? And God does not want us to participate and glorify darkness. And so for us personally, we don't listen to her. It's not something that I personally really enjoy anyway. Am I saying she's Satan? No, but I do think that Satan can operate in people, whether that's Taylor Swift or anybody, or even in us. And I think we just have to be careful, pray for them, truly, truly pray that she would have an encounter with the Lord where she sees truly who he is and that he can help her overcome that hurt. That's
good, babe. Here's what I don't want to see.
Okay.
I don't want to see y'all talking crap about Taylor Swift, and then you still listen to Waka Flocka. You know, you still listening to Drake.
You listen to Tyga.
You still, you know, watching the beef between Kendrick and Drake, and you're following the rap battles, or you're going to the club and you're getting drunk, or you're doing these things. You're out there. So it's like, let's be consistent, because, you know, take the rod out of your own eye.
I think it's the log
or the rod, whatever it is. I think it's the log. You're right. So like, I think we can pick and choose based on the people we don't like. It's like, if you come for us, we're going to cancel you. And so be careful, but I agree with you. Taylor Swift mocking Christianity, mocking scripture is a territory and a dangerous line. And I think it's hypocritical. And I think we've created a generation where you can mock Christianity and that's okay. And that's they will take an account. And so let God serve them justice in any way he wants to. And then you be the person who, turns your booty cheek around and turns the other cheek and prays for them.
What do you say, baby, when people think that Christians are always trying to just pick a fight? We're always trying to over spiritualize this. It's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a song. It's just a lyric. And she's allowed to feel hurt because she's clearly expressing that she has church hurt, which is real. And I want to validate that. Well, what do you think when people are saying like, oh, Christians are always trying to just find a problem?
I think humans do that in general. Like there's not any sinful human that doesn't find issues. You go to your office place, you go to your work, there's gossip in your work. Humans just find issues. We are entertained by drama. In life, people are bored.
Yeah.
So you go to a workplace, it's like
I'm a little uncomfortable.
People need entertainment. So like you'll find it in your office drama. Christians will find it in their church drama. Christians will find it in pop culture drama.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's like it's our evening news. It's our tribe that we sit in. And so I would say there's some truth to it, but I also think that it's just a human characteristic.
Yeah. I think also as Christians, the reason why people get annoyed at us is because as a Christian, when you read Ephesians, it talks about, I believe it is in Ephesians 5 or 6, where this battle is against spiritual principalities. It's not just against flesh and blood. And so Christians are looking deeper. We're looking more spiritual. We're looking at the forces that are being pushed in this world and where it's okay to mock Christianity and mock God. And it's a serious thing. And so when people are like, oh, Christians always want to find a problem, it's because we see more spiritual. It doesn't mean that we're better. It doesn't mean that we're superior. It just means that we have more of a spiritual awakening that God has gifted us as you seek him. And when you read the Bible, you'll see there's so much more to this than ever meets the eye. So in the world, everyone could be like, it's not that big of a deal. But as a Christian, you've read the Bible, you know how Satan operates. That's why I did an entire episode on how Satan operates, because you're able to see so much deeper what is really going on. And that's why we find this to be a big deal, I guess.
So are you denying that you are a part of the Illuminati?
I am not.
Janine.
Please don't clip that. Yes, I'm denying I'm part of the Illuminati.
How would you tell me if you were?
No, because then I'd probably have to kill you, or they would kill me.
It's true.
I mean, something would happen to me if I said anything. They might come for me on this camera.
Yeah, that's true.
It's important to me that the supplements I take are of the highest quality, and that's why for over a year, I've been drinking AG1. Now, unlike many supplement brands, AG1 conducts relentless testing to set the standards for purity and potency. It is also researched and developed by an in-house team of scientists, doctors, and nutritionists with decades of experience in their respective fields. Quality for AG1 is not just a buzzword, it is a commitment backed by expert-led scientific research, high-quality ingredients, industry-leading manufacturing, and rigorous testing. At each step of the process, AG1 goes above and beyond industry standards. I know that I can trust what's in every scoop of AG1 because it's tested for 950 contaminants and banned substances, while the industry standard typically only tests for 10. You guys, you heard that right. Literally 10. So taking care of my health shouldn't be complicated. It shouldn't be complicated for you either. And AG1 simplifies this by covering my nutritional bases and setting myself up for success in literally just 60 seconds, making it so that there aren't a million different pills and capsules to keep track of, just one scoop of AG1 mixed in water every day. AG1's ingredients are heavily researched for efficacy and quality, and I love that every scoop also includes vitamin C and zinc to support my immune health, also prebiotics, probiotics, and digestive enzymes for gut support, which is important, especially for someone like my husband. No shade, no tea, but he needs some gut support. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3+K2 and 5 free AG travel packs with your first subscription at drinkag1.com/healthy. That's drinkag1.com/healthy. Check it out. Okay, the next thing that we've seen recently happen is Miss USA has stepped down from her position, and apparently also Teen Miss USA. Is that right?
I can't believe that I'm actually like invested into pageant drama.
Okay, the only reason why I am is because our friend Sarah Rose was Miss USA in, I think, 2018. And so knowing her, which I actually asked her about this, and she was like, I have zero answers for you. I wish I had some information, but I really don't.
So they signed NDAs to where they can't speak about this. So if you don't know what happened, Miss America, Teen USA as well, both stepped down from their reign. And through that, one of the Miss USA girls who stepped down posted an Instagram story, but the beginning of each sentence, the letter was
capitalized.
I am silenced.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of sparking like, okay,
what's going on?
Abuse? There's a culture, toxic culture around it. I think they're controlled. That's what I think.
Well, I just Googled it, and there's some people here saying Miss USA and Teen USA were abused and bullied, that moms say. And so it is interesting that she literally said, I am silenced. Like, that is very interesting. And I mean, I do think that most people are nowadays. And also, especially with mob culture, cancel culture, there's so many things you can't say without being canceled or without being hated or someone telling you can't say that. So I'm curious, like, what was going on in that. But apparently didn't Sarah say they got a new, like, leader or a new, what's the word?
I think they sold the company a few different times.
Yeah. And now there's a new, like, what's the word?
Owner,
I guess.
That whole world just like screams. There's a lot of good in it. And I think it's changed a lot, but I don't know. Something seems very, very, very dangerous and toxic around that whole world. Mm-hmm. And I hope these girls, get the justice that they need, but also NDAs are crazy because you can sign an NDA and then you can't speak about it at all, or you'll get sued for a lot of money. And so, yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, that's kind of like a lot of reality TV shows. So even when you go on reality TV,
you sign your life away.
You sign an NDA. And I think with certain shows, after like 2 years, it expires. But there's certain abuse and things that happen on these reality TV shows where they take advantage of you, they manipulate you, they twist your brain, they twist the storyline, they do whatever to get the story that they're looking for. And you can't talk about it. You get out and you're like, wow, I was literally just so used for their TV show. And you can't say anything.
What do you think Christians, is it okay for us to like love this type of like pop culture drama, to like be invested in these stories? Is this not what we're doing right now? Is this gossip? Is this kind of,
Well, I think we're only talking about, we're stating factual things that we know
that are happening.
We're not trying to be like, oh, yes, I'm a speculation. I think what's important in this whole thing, because like I think about this a lot. Like, for example, we watched the latest season of The Bachelor, and some people have, questions about that. But I think as long as you aren't like obsessed with it, because there's some people I feel like I know who pop culture in Hollywood is like their life. Yep. To me, I just feel like it's a little bit of a waste of time focusing so much on like a reality TV show, someone's drama, someone's relationship, when to me, there's just so much bigger fish to fry in this life of the gospel and helping people and doing whatever. And so to me, like, it's not an idol. It's really not something I totally care about. Especially I care about it if it's like really impacting culture. And if I keep hearing about it, like, you can't get away from pop culture on TikTok specifically. And so it is kind of like, how can we hopefully be a light, not make it an idol, and not become too obsessed with someone else's lives? Because the weird thing is with these shows is we literally think we know these people. Yeah. Like, you watch reality TV show and people will say things like, oh, she's just a blank and she's this. And I'm like, you don't know what happened behind the scenes.
Because they sign an NDA and then they control the narrative of you.
Right. So people will hate the narrative that was played. And maybe some of it is true. I mean, they're actually saying those things on TV, but there's certain things that they twist, I think.
Okay, guys, the next conversation we have might be a trigger warning for people who deal with either mental illness or suicidal thoughts or something of the sort. So if that's something that you deal with or you struggle with depression or anything like that, because we're going to tap into
like abuse and a story here about
that. If you've been abused, I skip, 10, 15 minutes forward and you can continue to watch the show. Otherwise, we're going to get into it. Okay, here we go. Next topic. Oh, this one's juicy, man.
Uh-oh.
This whole case is crazy. What's your take on the Mica Miller case going on?
Okay, so I initially, obviously, of course, I hear about everything from TikTok, which is funny because we're actually off of TikTok right now. And you feel so behind if you aren't on it for like a day. It's crazy. So I initially saw this like everybody else. I was like, what's going on? It was extremely fishy in the beginning.
You should explain the case for people who don't know.
So basically, this woman is gone. She unalived herself. But people were accusing, before we found out the truth, all the little TikTok detectives came out and they were like, he killed her. He did it. You know, it was definitely his fault. Because she had posted online like I was abused.
Well, not only that, but he gave a sermon the next day.
Oh, yeah. The literal next day, he was like, he tells a sermon, waits till the very end, and he's like, oh, and just to let everybody know, my wife passed yesterday. And he's like, and I don't want anyone talking about it. No one talk about it. You can leave quietly. It was very suspicious.
That's weird.
But what I will say is they were separated actually quite for some time. I think they were trying to legally go through the divorce still. So they were separated. So it wasn't like they were like, I guess, still in love and actually married. They were separated. Mm-hmm. So the fishy thing is everybody was saying, if your wife passed yesterday, how would you preach a sermon the next day, wait till the end, and then say, hey guys, my wife passed, and no one talk about it? Just suspicious.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it seemed like, I mean, it was such a kind of like a psychotic thing to do. And I think that attitude and the way he went about it just screamed like abusive. It screamed just interesting things. And I think there's been reports to, it says here that in 2017 affidavit highlighted by the Daily Mail, Miller's first wife, Allison, who's the mother of his 5 children, accused him of engaging in blank acts with minors younger than 16 and having an addiction to prostitutes.
The pastor?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
She also alleged that Miller was caught in an affair with Mica in 2015 while she was Do we have this story right?
No, I think we do.
Who's Mica?
That's the woman that is gone. That was his ex-wife, I believe.
He had a first wife then. Okay, I see.
Right, so Mica is the one that passed.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I found to be very interesting, and I was so close to getting messy on TikTok, and I was like, Janine, don't insert yourself.
You're about to get in the drama?
I was about to get in the drama because I saw a video where he was on stage telling the congregation, you know, people keep trying to call me and they keep trying to accuse me that I did something. And he said something along the lines of like, she had multiple people come to her and ask her, hey, if you need anyone to talk to, do you need help? Is your husband okay? Are you guys okay? He was like, anyone that keeps trying to interfere in your relationship and trying to expose you should be removed. It was something along the lines of that. And it just triggered me because essentially what this guy was trying to do was trying to isolate her, make her think that everything was normal, everything was okay, and that she wasn't getting abused. And so he didn't want any outside voice coming in, which is what always abusers and narcissists can do, is remove any outside wisdom or counsel so that they can manipulate you more. And this happened to me a long, long, long time ago. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this poor girl. So he didn't want anyone speaking into their relationship.
Yeah, it sounds messy. And do I think he probably thought this was going to happen, but it goes to show how much abuse happens with pastors and in the church, and how if there's not counsel and wisdom and people involved, so much, like one person can have so much power and authority. And so, yeah, it's really sad. And I hate that people get another bad viewpoint of the church based on this guy's actions.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know. This is all allegedly. Do not come for us. We are speaking allegedly. But again, this begs the question, Janine, I struggle sometimes even having this conversation because it's like we are speculating. We don't know him. And so I don't want to.
But it's interesting because she had gone on her Facebook and was healing and was doing great. She'd posted about leaving an abusive relationship. So everyone was like very confused why she would have done what she did, because she took her own life. And they were like, she was healing and she was talking about how happy she was. She moved. And then, but it was proven that she called the cops and told them, I'm going to be taking my own life. But again, we don't know what was happening. It's just very sad.
And guys, if you struggle, if you're a person that feels alone, you feel lost.
Yeah.
Man.
There is hope.
Yeah. And there's go talk to somebody.
Okay, so those are some of our thoughts on that. I'm curious what you guys think down below. I know there's more to cover on this topic, but it is very interesting, and there's just something off going on there. But again, God is in the business of exposing. He will. Justice will be served. God literally says he loves justice, and so whatever happens, God will defend. Okay, my next question for you, babe. What do you think God is doing in Hollywood? Because we're seeing some crazy cases like P. Diddy. We're seeing Russell Brand just got baptized. Kat Von D met God. There's all these celebrities, Black China, who are like, I met God. Like Morgan Wallen, I think, is a Christian now. I'm praying for Post Malone. I'm praying for Drake. I'm honestly praying for Taylor Swift. I'm praying that these people meet the Lord. But God, I really think, is doing something. He is exposing so much weird things in Hollywood. What do you think God's doing? What do you think's happening?
I think when something gets so dark and gets so oppressive, you have certain individuals who are realizing what's happening on the inside. I think we're getting to a place where people aren't fulfilled anymore. You get to a certain point and you go, man, nothing has scratched this itch of needing, and this void in my heart. And I think there's the guys like Russell Brand, and I think it starts with I believe in a higher power. I believe in something bigger than me. And then I think those celebrities who are very intellectual, they're very smart, I think it takes them some time to logically believe in themselves that Jesus is the way, and he's the truth, and he's the life, and no one will come to the Father except through Jesus Christ. And I think that takes a long time. And I think there's amazing people within Hollywood. There's pastors and there's leaders and there's evangelism that is happening. But this P. Diddy things, these Jeffrey Epstein and the hyper, abuse and Harvey Weinstein and all these things that are happening. There's been so much corruption on the inside in almost a bubble of darkness that couldn't be. What's the word? Couldn't it be?
I know what you're talking about.
It starts with a P.
I know exactly. I was thinking like perpetuated.
It couldn't. Yeah.
I know.
Pierced. I don't know.
Pierced. Yeah.
And I do think the Lord's moving. I think people are now getting to the point where it's like either you choose the holy way or you're going down a dark side, and you're seeing these people get exposed heavily. And I hope justice is served. I hope our children are safe.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is the corruption with the children.
I mean, trafficking is so real.
Oh my gosh.
And it's sick and it's happening. And we literally had an entire podcast about human trafficking, not entire podcast, where we talked about with our friend Josh Broom, who's an ex-porn star, how even that industry perpetuates trafficking. And there's some weird things going on in that world. And I think God is finally just cleaning it out. I remember when I lived in LA, I constantly would hear prophecies of people saying like, oh, God's going to come back for Hollywood. God's going to bring revival in Hollywood. And I was like,
or he's gonna
really?
Or he's going to destroy it.
Well, both. I think that could be part of the revival is you have to clean it out. And then people will be so desperate that they need Jesus. That's hopefully what's happening. But I do feel like there is a wave happening now. And I remember living there being like, okay, God, like only you could do that. But not even only in celebrities. I'm seeing this happen in musical artists and TikTokers and influencers where people are literally getting encounters with God. They're opening their Bible. They're so desperate. They're so hungry because at some point, nothing satiates. Nothing satisfies. Nothing fulfills the way that God really would,
But not just that. Like people aren't coming to Jesus just because, I need to fill this void. It's that it's real. And it is.
They can't deny it.
You can't deny it at a certain point. And I do think science, I do think history is catching up to that. I think it is, a lot of people who make it their mission to disprove Christianity actually end up proving it themselves. And I do think the dangerous thing is I would say a big portion of the listeners grew up Christian. And I almost think that can be the hardest thing because it's all you know. And if you've never experienced life without him and you take it so for granted, I think a lot of these people live so long without him, and they go and he hits them in a real way, and they see things and they have dreams, and God is speaking to them, and through other people, it creates this childlike faith that you ever see like a new Christian in their 40s.
Oh my gosh,
like
they're obsessed with
fired
that.
up. And I grew up a Christian my whole life, and I sometimes I don't have the scars they do, and I'm grateful for that. But I think I want to see the Lord really do that in my life, and I think it's awesome. The Hollywood, I do think people are calling for justice, because how long it's been going on. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. If you watch Sound of Freedom, the
Nickelodeon documentary.
Exactly. Like, this isn't just Hollywood. This is sinful.
This is people.
These are people. Exactly. And so in the form of power with Hollywood or overseas, like, these things are happening. But what's crazy now is how this conversation we could have, someone could say I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
But it's like, that's just the reality.
It's like, tell that to the victims. Yeah. Tell that to the people that actually lived it out. Tell that to Drake Bell, who's literally walked through actual abuse. And so people want to be like, again, you're over spiritualizing, whatever. No, I think God is really exposing Hollywood. There is some deep darkness there for honestly decades. And I remember, being younger and being so annoyed that my dad would be like, you can't watch, Raven Simone, you can't watch. And I was like, Dad, it's just a fortune teller show. Like, it's not that deep. I was so annoyed. And now I'm like, oh, the Bible is very clear. Like, have nothing to do with darkness. Like, don't support divination. Don't support fortune tellers and Deuteronomy 18. Like, things like that. Then
you need to stop watching The Bachelor.
What does that have to do with it?
I don't know.
Well, we could talk about that.
Yeah, that's a debate.
But I'm just saying that I think God is on the move, and I am praying that people open their eyes. There's so much evidence. There's people getting these encounters that are now helping other people. Like, I think Joe Rogan might become a Christian. You think so?
I don't know about that.
Really?
He's not a Christian.
I thought people were saying he's getting close.
He's asking questions, but I don't think he's a Christian.
Burgers are the most popular food in America, and you've probably eaten one in the past week, and you're definitely craving one since I started talking about it. I know I am. I'm probably going to get one after this, but that's why you should make this summer one to remember by subscribing to Good Ranchers and getting free Wagyu burgers for a year. If you haven't had their American Wagyu burgers, then you haven't had one of the best burgers ever. Trust me on this. Caleb cooked these at our house about 2 weeks ago, and it was so good. I'm like, Caleb, please make me some more right now. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. So here's 3 steps to get your year of free burgers. Step 1, simply go to goodranchers.com and subscribe to any of their custom curated boxes filled with 100% American beef, chicken, pork, or wild-caught seafood. Step 2, use my code HEALTHY at checkout to claim your free American Wagyu burgers for a year, plus a free bacon butter gift. That is the perfect bacon topping for any burger. All in all, that's a $400 value with my code HEALTHY. Step 3, get free shipping on all your orders and have the summer to remember. If you needed any other reason to support Good Ranchers, they're not only amazing partners of my show, but they support the Paralyzed Veterans of America too, which is amazing. Every order saves American farms and supports American veterans. So change the way you buy meat today at goodranchers.com with my code HEALTHY to claim your free burger for a year. Get 100% American meat delivered and support veterans this Memorial Day season. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered.
I think a lot of people could listen to this and go, why does this happen? Like, why?
Okay.
You know why?
Tell me.
It's money. Mm-hmm. People might be pissed off that these things are happening inside of Hollywood, but no one's going to say anything. Because we all have a mortgage to pay. We all want the job. There's always somebody at the top who controls the bottom. And so I think you've seen people stay silent for so long because they're afraid. Just like a lot of people are afraid to speak out about certain things because they're afraid to lose ad revenue. They're afraid to talk about certain things because they don't want to lose. They have to pay their kids college and they have to. And so it can become very scary, you know?
I agree. I think money makes the world go round. And, you know, it's like that Bible story where the guy comes to Jesus and he said, what must I do to follow you? And he says, okay, sell all your possessions, get rid of everything, get rid of your money. And the man walks away sad because he couldn't take all of his stuff with him. Yeah. And it's a real question for us of asking ourselves, is Jesus enough? Mm-hmm. Is he enough? What is this all for if you still feel empty and depleted and you don't know where you're going when you die, and if you don't have an eternal purpose and glory that you're waiting for? Like, I think that's ultimately what brings us true joy, is our faith and being with good people and being around community and God giving us purpose. Like, this podcast would feel pretty purposeless if I didn't have faith as the foundation, because that's what runs everything. That's why it's literally the chapter 1 in my book, was because faith is the foundation of everything. And so that's my prayer, is that people will find that and discover that. And hopefully through even this podcast, that's my prayer, is that y'all will truly see that Jesus truly is the reason and what you've been looking for this entire time. Yeah. I did want to read though, because you know how in, I think it's like 2nd or 1 Timothy where they talk about like the end times. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that in just a second. Okay, hold on. Let me find it. End times, book of Timothy in the Bible. So I'm trying to find this specific scripture. Okay, so in 2 Timothy,
what does this have to do about?
Because it kind of resembles Hollywood. Because a lot of people will say like, oh, you know, we're in the end times because look at Hollywood. And I think why this is so important is if you're not a believer, the people you're looking up to typically are going to be in Hollywood. So whether we like to admit it or not, Hollywood is infiltrating culture. Hollywood is telling people how to dress, how to look, what to do, love, relationships, sex, money. Like, it is influencing an entire generation. And that's why this matters. It's like, you can't really run away from it. We should be praying for it and actually knowing what's going on so that we can hopefully make a difference. But a lot of people in Hollywood, I would say, kind of resemble this, where it says, mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, have nothing to do with such people.
That reminds me of like, oh, I'm spiritual.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
I talked about this in my last episode, where I'm like, if it's not a spirit from God, it's not a spirit that you want.
Okay.
So that whole scripture, that has been all of society. I just think when we get to ender times, if that's a thing, we'll see that be amplified 20 times more. So when you're looking through that lens of scripture, look for those signs in Hollywood and say, okay, people are obsessed with themselves. People love themselves. People love money. People are boastful. They are slanderous. They are gossiping. They're throwing each other underneath the boat. There's no love there. There's all sorts of sexual acts. I mean, Hollywood promotes so many things that is contrary to what God deems as his absolute best for us, you know?
But here's my pushback.
Okay.
We're entertained by it. You and I,
Who?
We watch The Bachelor, we watch Love is Blind, we do some of these things. So like, is that wrong?
So what's your answer then? What do you think?
I go back to, and I hate using the scripture, but like, not everything's beneficial. Things are permissible. And I don't think, for me, watching The Bachelor, I think it's gray. I think it's neutral. I think you could make an argument that we shouldn't be. But I also think that there's a layer of like legalism where it's just like it's morally neutral. If it causes, it's like, what's the cause? Because you can make an argument. Like, I went to a basketball game yesterday and there's people who are drunk there. It's like, should I not be at that basketball game? Because basketball is not going to be in heaven, but it is entertainment. And so I think it's The Bachelor. I think it's entertainment, but I also think that, you're watching something that's fueled by gossip. It's fueled by
drama,
unhealthy relationships. So I would say, God in his holiness, you would not watch that if he was in front of you. So I would say we probably shouldn't be watching
I think it. That's a good filter. If you put yourself in front of, like, if God was here, what would he say?
Yeah.
But it's so hard because there is so much gray. It's like, how legalistic do you want to get? And then sometimes you can be too lackadaisical.
Sure.
And
comment down what you guys think.
Yeah. I don't think, obviously there's so many shows on Netflix you should absolutely not watch. Like, I remember starting that one show, Too Hot to Handle, and me being like, this is not good for me to watch. Like, I remember turning it off. I was like, this is just absolutely not good for me to watch.
Yeah.
Things like that, like literally just straight up entertaining sin. But I don't know. It is hard because sometimes, like, you could be like, it's not affecting me that much, but like, I think there is something more spiritually going on. Like, it might, maybe you find yourself being more lustful or wanting to gossip more. That's an iffy one, but you're right. I don't think it's necessarily the best thing to promote and encourage, but it's like hard because, like, to me, I'm like, that show doesn't make me like want to do anything. Like, I do think it is pure
until it
boredom.
Does.
Like what?
I don't know.
That's true. Maybe you're right.
Gossip.
Maybe you're right.
Drink too much.
Not really.
But
I do see what you're saying. Like, the Bible literally
maybe
says
their toxicity in their relationship bleeds into ours.
I don't know about that. The Bible does say, though, fix your eyes on what is eternal, not temporal. So
I feel like you know the answer to the question, but we, like anybody else, are inherently like selfish or sinful to where we want to watch the things that we probably shouldn't, that aren't beneficial,
that are like trendy. Because like I think Love Is Blind was extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, did I gain anything from it? No. I just knew what was going on in pop culture.
Maybe
I didn't gain a single thing. Obviously, I knew what not to do in a relationship watching that.
Yeah.
I will say, though, let me just say this really fast. What I will say is actually fascinating watching them is it actually shows you how people still do relationships and how the world still tells you to do relationships and clearly how it's not working. That's what helps me understand where I'm like, oh, I kind of live in a bubble.
I yawned again.
Yeah, are you okay?
You
realize like we live in a bubble. Yeah. So like when you watch like Love Is Blind or The Bachelor, you're like, oh, people still think doing that is okay.
Yeah.
And that's what the world says is okay. Mm-hmm. So it helps me kind of realize like, okay, this is what I need to speak against or talk about on my podcast.
Yeah.
But that's me making somewhat of a justification.
I got a very pretty wife.
Thank you. I have a very handsome husband.
Very beautiful.
Thank you. 10 out of 10?
You want to get out of here?
Maybe. What do you say about people like Amanda Bynes and Britney Spears that just did not get out of Hollywood unscathed? Is that the word?
Unscathed. I think there's obvious like issues there that are deeper than just anything else. I when I think about Amanda Bynes with what she went through on Nickelodeon.
But did she fully go through that same abuse?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. We don't. Actually, you're right. We don't know.
I think anybody who's famous from an early age, like if you gave me fame at 7, 8 years old, I would be. I mean, you.
How can you not come out of there unscathed?
Yeah, just mentally, everyone knows you. The world is catered to you. No one tells you no. You have millions of dollars.
And they're criticizing you.
Your dopamine levels, your serotonin, like your brain chemistry, it gets warped. It gets. Think about what Justin Bieber, Demi Lovato, Zach,
Miley
and Cody,
Cyrus,
what they had to go through. And I think that when you see them act in certain ways that are like, that's a little interesting. Mm-hmm. I honestly I don't want to even throw a stone at them, or I don't want to say, oh, look at them. It's like, man, I'm grateful that I didn't have to go through that, because there's no telling. And I pray that there's healing and grace that God has. But yeah, it seems like there are some very, 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 like, no one can look at even Brittany and Amanda and go, man, they haven't gone through something. Mm-hmm. And it's apparent. And I think if you give any young kid hundreds of millions of dollars and mm-hmm. access to everything, it goes to show you that access and money and lust and all these things just turn into a bomb, essentially.
Who's the one that said, like, I wish everyone could get as rich and famous as they want just to realize that it's not what you want? I think it was like Jim Carrey.
Yeah, it was.
Where he was like, yeah, I hope everyone can taste this.
Here's my question to you. Janine, you started a YouTube channel in high school?
Yeah.
And you look nervous for this question.
Well, because you literally always push it back to me, and I'm like, what?
No, it's a genuine question. Like overnight, you grew into like from like a year time, like 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? And did that you went the Christ route? You could have went into that whole world.
Yeah.
And how did you overcome it? And how does it affect your mental health and like how you are?
Good question. So it's really funny
because I think a lot of people who are like a lot of people, especially on the podcast, they're like new followers and they don't realize.
They don't know me by YouTube.
Janine started a YouTube channel. She has 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube. And you were like massive. And I didn't know Janine did YouTube like that until we started really like, I knew she did like social media and stuff, but I didn't know to the degree that you started this 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I looked at some of the views you were getting back in the day.
It was crazy. I do not get those views now, but I'm also very inconsistent on my YouTube channel.
But you could have went psycho.
I could have. So here's what I'll say. It truly was God's protection because let me tell you, I wanted that. I wanted to be Hannah Montana. I wanted to be on Disney Channel. If you read my book in chapter 7 where I talk about career, it was my dream to be Hannah Montana. I would literally sit in my bedroom bawling my eyes out because my dad would not let me go do auditions. So my mom would take me to auditions and I would crush them because I really thought I was good on camera. But my dad was like, absolutely not. I don't want you to be in Hollywood. I don't want it corrupting you. So I think that there was protection from my parents and the Lord. However, I got a different level, I guess you could say, of fame. Some people in this might follow me from like YouTube cheerleader days.
And you got famous on accident, kind of.
Yeah, it was never my intention of like, I want to blow up on the internet. It was kind of a happy accident. I'll say, when I moved out to LA, it was like I was getting a glimpse of that and I was meeting these celebrities and I was doing these shows and it just wasn't as glamorous as everyone portrays it out to be. It's actually very deceitful and manipulative and they exploit you and they use you. I remember going on a show where they only had me go on there because I was a Christian and because of my past story. And they tried to purposely exploit me and make me say things on the show because they were trying to make me look bad and also trying to get me all riled up and create a drama out of it. And I was like, oh, this is sick. Like, you are so dispensable here. They don't care about you. One day you're in, the next day you're out, you're replaceable, you're forgettable. They'll get the hotter, younger, prettier girl than you in 2 seconds. And so as I started to place my identity back in Christ and being like, this is not satisfied. Like, you guys probably read my book. I talked about how unsatisfied I was. I was chasing everything, the money, the fame. I was trying to be the coolest YouTuber ever. And it never really worked. And I think that God protected me. And as I grew my faith, I truly realized, like, Jesus, you are so much more worth than all of that, because I've seen YouTubers, I've seen celebrities, I've seen so many people in that space that I was friends with, that I was obsessed with, that I followed, have some of the worst, like downfalls or things that they've struggled with, or they're confused, or they post about how they're struggling really, really badly with all these areas of their life. And I'm like, man, God saved me. And so I look back now and I'm like, thank you, Lord, for not giving me everything that I wanted, because everything that I wanted is opposite of what you wanted and was not going to be good for me anyway. God let me taste and see some things, and I let myself do that.
What was the craziest thing you saw?
I have to think about that. Like what? What kind of story?
I don't know. Do you got like a Hollywood story?
I mean, I would just say,
Were you ever offered anything?
Yeah, I was offered coke.
Okay, not like drugs. I mean, like offered to like, hey, if you do this, then.
No. Thankfully, no. Well, no, there was one time I remember, let me rewind the coke thing. I was like, wait a minute. I remember I was at Coachella and we were.
Diet Coke?
No, like the hard stuff. We were on our way to Coachella and I was actually going to meet Post Malone. It was crazy. I met this random couple and they were in the bus and they were like, hey, do you want to do this? And they were like,
Jeanine lived a different life.
I did. I loved Post Malone. I still have a heart for him because I want him to know Jesus so badly. But they were like, hey, do you want some of this? And I was never interested in that stuff. I was like, no, I'm good. Freaked me out anyway. But I would say there was one time, like, Hollywood will pry on your compromise. It will use your compromise as a means to gain something. So they'll like, if you can compromise and they see that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there, they will exploit that as much as possible. And so just for a minor example, I was in a music video back in 2017. I was like the main girl in the music video. And there was this scene. It was supposed to be me and this guy in love. I'm so sorry, babe. I don't think I've ever shared this story.
Yeah, you have. You've told me.
But probably to you, not on the podcast. And they were like, hey, we want you to... I just spit everywhere. That was cute. We want you to kiss the guy, and we also want you to be in bed with him, and it looks like you woke up and you've been sleeping together, and they wanted me to be like in this big t-shirt and like panties, and I was like, absolutely not. And he's like, so like you won't kiss him? And I was like, no, I just met this guy. And they were trying to kind of get me, and I just kept saying no. And like even in the bed, like we just had a scene where we were like sitting in there together, just drinking coffee. I was like, hey, I don't even feel comfortable like rolling around on here. Like I tried to make it as PG as possible, and even like just us sitting in the bed made me really uncomfortable.
Is it still out there?
No, thankfully.
Okay,
it's gone now. I won't name names, but this girl is related to someone very, very successul now.
No way.
Very successful. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that's the thing is like they try to get you to compromise because they're like, oh, you're going to be in a music video. This is such a cool opportunity.
I have a confession.
But it wasn't an ill intention.
What'd you do? It was a few years ago. So those of you who do not know my kind of story, when I graduated high school, I actually was moving to New York City to model, and I was going to business school in New York City at a high school, and I also signed like a little modeling deal.
I mean, look at those cheekbones.
In New York City, and I wanted to act, and I wanted to go to a dramatic arts school there. I didn't end up doing that. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go get my business degree and go to business school there. I didn't end up finishing because I fell off a skateboard, but through that, you know, I did some casting and stuff, and then when I moved to Dallas, a casting agency hit me up, and I guess they knew I was a Christian, and they wanted to, I don't know if I've told you this before.
I'm like, where is this leading?
They wanted to cast me for a show that it was called like Virgin Island.
What?
It was something like that. Yeah, it's like where virgins went to this island. It was going to be like a dating show, and it's like people who've like never had sex before. It was something like that. And
I've never heard this.
Yeah, I'm missing some details, but I did
on purpose.
No, because I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
And I did a casting for it. I made it like 2 rounds, and I never heard back. But it's just crazy. I'm so glad I didn't go in on that because it was a few years back, and I still was kind of youngish. I think it was 21, 22. And so who knows what that could have accidentally.
That's crazy. You know how many times I've been reached out to by dating shows? Like I had so many random dating shows like, hey, we want you to go on this millionaire. It was going to be 3 millionaires and it was going to be 30 girls and they were going to pick a girl and it was going to be filmed in like Dubai or something crazy. And I was like, yeah, I'm good.
That's funny.
That's so, you never told me that.
I mean, what would you have done if I went on that show?
I saw you on there.
And then
I said, that's my virgin.
that would have been a turnoff probably then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would, if your bio was like Virgin Island season 1. I'd be like, oh,
that would
block.
Be hilarious.
Not because you're a virgin, but I just think that'd be a little icky to be on that.
to go on that show would be.
That's so funny.
That is funny. I totally forgot. I think I still have the interview.
Oh my gosh, I want to see it
on my phone. But they were asking me, the reason why I tell the question, they were like asking me so many questions on the casting, like, so like, would you have sex if you met the right person? And just like trying to get me to compromise. And they're like, they're like, why have you saved your, like they were so just asking the craziest questions. They were asking me like inappropriate questions.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
And I was like giving them like the godly answers and stuff, and then I didn't get a call back.
That's probably why they're like, he ain't compromising. They were like,
he's not compromising. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that on those interviews. They will get in your business.
Because what I low key wanted to do is like I think at the time I was like, I'd be dope to get on and like stick to my guns, you know. But it's kind of dumb to like put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, when you're on an island and there's no one to help you and they're trying to get you to probably drink
Now,
and do all the crazy things.
I would be so down. And if you guys have connections, please help me out. I want to go. I want to go on
Baby.
Survivor or Big Brother. Okay.
What?
So if you
and
guys,
I want to go on.
if you guys have connections to Survivor or Big Brother, please
babe,
help a brother out.
Then I'm gonna not see you for like 10 plus weeks.
That's not true.
That'd be so sad.
You come to Survivor with
What would
me.
I do without you?
Watch
Why don't we go do Amazing Race together or
No,
Family Feud?
no.
Those are the two that I want to go
I get car sick, so Amazing Race wouldn't work.
Oh my.
I would need Dramamine the whole time.
That's true. You'd just be like dizzy and drunk the entire time.
Drunk?
Well, because doesn't it make you feel like you're drunk on Dramamine?
No.
Oh.
Just tired.
I had no idea.
No, literally, guys, Survivor would be my greatest. I mean, guys, I love the show.
Hey, speaking of Survivor.
It's tonight.
Remember when you spoiled the ending for all the followers?
Guys, it's one of the worst things I've done.
You made an error.
Well, my issue was I didn't think anyone watched Survivor but me.
That was a little.
So, guys, if I spoiled Survivor for you. So, if you follow our Jeanine and Caleb account,
go follow it.
Last season of Survivor, this girl won, and I posted the winner. It was like at 1 a.m. I was watching it, and I spoiled it for so many people. I woke up the next morning with so many mean DMs. People were so mad at me. I woke up sweating, just like, oh no, I made an error.
Yeah.
So
they were mad at you.
For those who I spoiled Survivor, I am so sorry. Also, comment down below, like, what show you would want to go on.
For me, it's definitely Amazing Race or Family Feud. Amazing Race just because I want to travel. And I think I'd be really good at it.
I would love to go on Hunger Games.
What? You want to die?
It would be low-key kind of fun, though.
You would want to go in the Hunger Games?
I would like to do, like, maybe I don't die, but I get really hurt. I need some...
Someone come get your mans, because I don't know who this is.
Well, then it's not fun. There needs to be some consequences.
Babe, remember when she got, like, stung by those hornets?
Babe,
and they were shooting at each other?
You can't tell me watching Hunger Games that low-key you didn't want to be involved.
No. It sounds terrifying. Who's the little girl that died? It made me so sad.
Yeah, she wasn't good at the game.
Oh, that's so sad.
She needed to be
I
stronger.
remember that was the only trilogy that I ever read was Hunger Games. And I cried when that girl died. What's her name?
Don't spoil it.
W?
Babe.
What was her name?
Are you spoiling Hunger Games?
I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us. This was a fun episode.
Good energy.
Guys, we are not perfect. We don't have all the answers.
And Janine,
please input your thoughts down below.
If Janine is a part of the Illuminati, please comment down below. Janine is a part of the Illuminati. That's crazy. What's the song? Are you coming to the tree? Strange things could happen here, but stranger would it be? Are you? Oh
man, I don't know.
That's the Hunger Games.
I think my little cherry on top of this, is I just want to make sure that overall the message that we preach on this podcast is to pursue godliness, things that make you look more like Christ, push you closer to Christ, that don't cause you to compromise, that are going to edify your spirit and promote holiness and godliness and righteousness over sin and debauchery or
also,
whatever.
I think we hope we're a good substitute for, like, if you watch other podcasts that, like, are not wholesome or they're not, they're inappropriate. And so we hope that we can be a good substitute if you're a parent or if you have kids, or, we could be a podcast that you could still entertain you guys, but it's also like not unhealthy entertainment.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Good representation.
Some good old family, fun, wholesome podcasts.
Okay.
Thank you guys for hanging out. That was so fun. I love this episode.
We did part 1 to this conversation on Patreon, so if you guys want...
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
You did. That was hurtful. That's okay.
I'm so sorry. No, finish what you're saying.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we talked more about like the Illuminati, like specific Hollywood parties. One party that I was at. We talked about
women pastors. What
else did we talk about? Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, the Selena people. So go check it out. Subscribe down below. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love you. Thank you for joining us every Tuesday. It's always a blessing. And if you enjoyed today's episode, share it. Let us know your thoughts.
And if you have Survivor connections, please let me know. Bye-bye.
And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Happy and Healthy. But until then, stay happy and healthy.
And healthy.
Bye-bye.
We out. It's all we ever wanted. Love you guys. Bye.